Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. We are in the Call of Cthulhu Keeper's book today. We are continuing the going over the spells of Call of Cthulhu. We're going to cover a few more spells. I have it listed here. Let me read them real quick so you'll know what the names are that we're covering today. Flesh Ward, Green Decay, Implant Fear, Melt Flesh, Mental Suggestion, Mind Blast, Mind Exchange, Mind Transfer, Mirror of Tarkun, atep, Power of Ibn-ghazi, and those will be the spells in today's video. The next video after that will continue. We'll also have more spells. We're going to have, I think, 4 more videos total, but I could be wrong. I could have miscounted the spells. So, without further ado, let's enter into Flesh Ward. It costs a variable amount of magic points, 1d4 sanity points, casting times 5 rounds. Grants protection against physical attacks. Each magic point spent gives the caster or the chosen target 1d6 points of armor against non-magical attacks. The protection wears off as it blocks damage. For example, if a character had 12 points of Flesh Ward as armor and was hit for 8 points of damage, the Flesh Ward would be reduced to 4 points, yet he or she would take no damage. The spell lasts 24 hours, or until the protection is used up. Once cast, the spell may not be reinforced with further magic points, nor recast until the old spell's protection has been used up, or the time has passed. Alternative names to this spell is protection, protect thee from mighty blows, or armor of the will, or blood shield. The next spell is Green Decay. Costs 15 magic points, 10 POW, and 2d8 sanity points. Casting time is 1 day. Okay. A curse that turns an individual into a green pile of mold. A day must be spent focusing energy upon the intended target of the spell and reciting an incantation to Glaki. In the next 24 hours, the caster must personally give a green leaf to the target. At dawn on the following day, for the spell to take effect, an opposed POW roll must be made between the caster and the target on the D100s. If the target fails, the Green Decay has begun. Over the next 7 days, the target effectively turns into green mold. At first, green blotches appear on the skin. These then begin to grow mold-like hairs. As the days progress, more and more of the victim's skin grows green and the skin rots. In tandem, the victim's organs also rot. By the 6th day, the victim's mental facilities rapidly deteriorate and movement becomes impossible. The only known cure is to find and kill the caster, which reverses the spell's effect. The only known written transcription of this hideous spells are within the Book of Ibn and the Revelations of Glaki. Alternative names: the Creeping Mold, or Ye Rotting Awfulness. The next spell is Implant Fear. Costs 12 magic points, 1d6 sanity points, casting time is instantaneous. This spell causes soul-chilling dread, breaking the target's concentration and disrupting his or her actions. The caster must be able to see and point a finger at the target while invoking a curse. The sudden unnerving costs the target 0 to 1d6 sanity points. Depends if you make your save. And they feel compelled to retreat to a safe place anywhere the person would normally feel safe and secure. Alternative names: Finger of Doom, Eben's Jinx, the Evil Eye. Melt Flesh. Cost: Dead Flesh. 1 magic point per 15 size of dead flesh. 1d4 sanity points. Cost: Living Flesh. 5 magic points per 15 size of living flesh, 1d6 sanity points. Casting time, 5 rounds. This devilish spell heats flesh, dead or living, to its melting point in 1 round. If used on animated flesh, the cost is substantially higher to the caster in magic points. The victim's flesh is melted, causing horrific disfigurement, 1d4 damage per 15 size points affected. In certain cases, such as where the face is targeted, the victim may become blind or lose the ability to hear and possibly suffocate unless air vents can be quickly created. Seeing human flesh melt off human bones costs 1 sanity point if you make it, or 1d6 sanity points if you fail. Alternative names: Rite of the Dissolution, Liquefy Skin. The next spell on the list is Mental Suggestion. Variable magic points and sanity points. Casting time is 3 rounds. The caster can command any being with human blood in its veins. A single target who is visible to the unaided eye of the sorcerer is affected. The victim carries out all that is commanded by the caster, even to self-destruction. The spell also works against Lingets, Deep One hybrids, Ghoul changelings, Little People, Serpent folk, and Deep Ones who have interbred with humans, but doesn't work on non-human entities such as Shantanks or Dimensional Shamblers. The caster intones the spell and relates the suggestion to the target. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposing power roll. With the target, extreme suggestions involving death or great harm require a second opposed power roll just before the suggestion is implanted. The cost for the spell varies with the suggestion. For ordinary, unthreatening suggestions, drop your sword, hand over your money, and leave, etc., the cost is 5 magic points and 1d3 sanity points. Riskier suggestions, but not ones antithetical to the target, like go to Dunwich, set fire to a building, etc., cost 10 magic points and 2d3 sanity points. Dangerous or suicidal suggestions, kill a companion, kidnap the president, etc., cost 15 magic points and 3d3 sanity points. If used on an investigator, the effects last for 1 round for each point of intelligence the caster possesses. If the intelligence of the investigator is higher than that of the caster must win another power roll every 10 rounds. When the caster fails, the spell is broken. Alternative names: Domination of the Will, Master and Servant, Bend Query to Thy Power, Mesmerize, Bend Will, Shake Resolve, Govern Mind, Implant Suggestion. Okay. The next spell is Mind Blast. Costs 10 magic points, 1d3 sanity points. Casting time is instantaneous. The victim of this spell suffers a terrible mental assault, causing the loss of 5 sanity points and inducing temporary insanity. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed power roll with the target. The target is affected as per the rules for temporary insanity, beginning with a bout of madness, and may continue to suffer from flashbacks and or nightmares 4 days following. Alternative names: Curse of Enfeeblement, Wave of Doom, Abyss of the Mind's Eye. The next spell is Mind Exchange. This one costs 1d6 plus 10 magic points and 1d3 sanity points. Casting time 1 hour. Allows the caster to trade minds with another individual. The caster loses 1d3 sanity points and must expend magic points equal to 1/5 of the target's POW the first time the spell is cast. Thereafter, the cost goes down to 1 magic point per casting until it reaches 1, where it remains. The sanity points cost does not decrease. The target must know the spellcaster and love or strongly favor him or her. If that affection is somehow lost, the exchange can no longer occur. Fresh affection renews the chance. Upon arriving in another's body, the target loses a minimum of 1 to 1d3 sanity points. This spell can be cast at any range. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed POW roll with the target. Until the magic point cost for the casting of the spell can be reduced to 1 when the opposed POW roll is no longer required and the caster can transfer at will, using only a strong mental effort. The spellcaster cannot initially stay more than a few minutes inside the target's body, but progressively it is able to longer and longer. Once the cost for the transfer is 1 magic point, he or she can stay there indefinitely. Alternative names: vice versa incantation, rite of exchange, the cloak of another's flesh. The next one is mind transfer. Cost 10 magic points and 1d10 sanity points. Casting time 5 rounds or more. A powerful spell allowing the caster to permanently trade minds with a target, perhaps to attain longer life at the target's expense. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed POW roll with the target. With success, the caster loses 1d10 sanity points and the victim loses 1d20 sanity points. If the exchange fails, the caster must immediately cast the spell again, losing 10 more magic points, or his or her soul dissipates into eternity. Once the transfer is begun, it cannot be broken off. A successful casting means that the caster has permanently taken control of the target's body. The caster's previous body is now a hollow, dead thing. As for the mind of the target, conjecture suggests that it is expelled from the body and thus dies. However, some hint that it remains inside its own body, subservient to the caster's mind and locked in a permanent state of horrific madness. The deeper version of this spell. Wizards, fearful of death or eager to ensure longevity, may prepare the mind transfer spell many years in advance of its casting. Such preparations usually concern some personal item, such as a portrait or diary, wherein the spell is keyed, awaiting the right conditions for it to come to fruition. Often the key is some future descendant of the caster who unknowingly activates the spell. The next spell is Mirror of Tarkun Atep. Costs 5 magic points and 1 sanity point. Casting time is half a day. As a harassment or warning, the caster is able to project his or her image into the surface of a mirror or mirroring surface that is being gazed into by the caster's intended victim. The victim can be anywhere on Earth. The caster needs a mirror large enough to reflect his or her head and neck. Gazing into the mirror and keeping an image of the target in mind, he or she utters the short incantation and waits. When the target next looks into a darkened window, a mirror, or any other reflective surface, an image of the caster begins to form. If the caster tires before the target looks into a mirror, that loss of attention breaks the spell. Sometimes the mirror image of the caster is looking directly into the eyes of the victim. At other times, the caster is seen standing directly behind the victim in the reflection. If the victim wears glasses, images reflected from the lenses may even be resolved. The target can hear words and short phrases uttered by the caster. The caster can see through his or her mirror as well, and see the target and the target's surroundings. Alternative names: the silvery warning, reflection of hate, the all-seeing eye. The final spell for today's video is the Power of Ibn-ghazi. Costs 1 magic point per dose. It's the Powder of Ibn-ghazi is the spell. So it costs 1 magic point per dose. Casting time 2 days, preparation, and 1 round to apply. The quote from the Dunwich Horror is, "Those without the telescope saw only an instant flash of gray cloud, a cloud about the size of a moderately large building. Near the top of the mountain, Curtis, who held the instrument, dropped it with a piercing shriek into the ankle-deep mud of the road. He reeled and would have crumbled to the ground had not 2 or 3 other seized and steadied him. All he could do was moan half inaudibly." Now, what the actual spell does: this spell makes visible magical invisible things by blowing the powder against or over the invisible thing. The powder must be compounded carefully according to exacting instructions and involves 3 special ingredients and the sacrifice of 1 magic point per dose. A dose is 1 application of the powder. The keeper determines the special ingredients. The powder is either blown from a tube or thrown over the target. The thing that is dusted stays visible for no more than 10 heartbeats. That which could be made visible includes the magical lines extending from a place enchanted for the calling of a mythos deity, the aura around a gate, or a creature that is normally invisible, such as a star vampire. Using the powder costs no sanity points, but seeing what it exposes may. Alternative names: Dust of Seeing, Witness of the Unseen, Compound of Perception. That's going to be a very useful spell to allow the party to get their hands on at some point as they're investigating a lot of unseen things, especially with the ramifications of, if they see it, they now have to make sanity rolls. Well, with that, that'll complete the video for today. So until we all game again, guys,